Hello, my friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. It has been a hot minute since we have done a chat, and so on one of the warmest days of the year so far, why not go ahead and do a chat? So that is what we are going to do. We have a very, very fun announcement to make of a big special event that's going to be happening here at Creekside Nursery. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to ask all of your burning questions, whether they are related to plants, things that are happening, you name it, we are going to talk about it. And this is not scripted in any shape, fashion, or form. And yeah, so we're just gonna sit here on the front porch and have a little chit chat together, talking about all gardening things and fun events here at Creekside.
Yep, sounds good.
Sounds good. You just want to jump right on in?
Yeah.
Let's jump right on in. Okay, my friends. So on Saturday, June 20th, we are having a really fun event here at the nursery. Sweet folks at Southern Living Plant Collection asked us if we would want to participate, be one of the host garden centers for their kind of the on-the-road garden show, kind of the front yard question answer event. They are going to be bringing in some media and some local social influencers, going to answer everybody's questions. They're going to have a tent set up with cookies and sweet tea available for folks. It is completely free. Is open to the public at 10 a.m. So basically it runs from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the public. And we can confirm that we do have a very fun, amazing gardener. We have met her, I know, at least once, if not a couple of times. So Erin, the Impatient gardener, will also be here. So if you are a fan of Erin, then this is a great time for you to come and meet her, talk with her, ask her questions. I know, obviously, one, she has got a gorgeous garden, but she also deals with deer a lot, which is something we are blessed that while we have deer on the property, they leave our plants alone. So she will be able to give you like real life hands-on experience about dealing with deer, because that is a huge issue. Yep.
Yeah, it's a huge issue. It's an issue every day that we deal with at the garden center, you know.
With our customers.
Yeah, with our customers.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. So of course we will give you more information, more details. So as soon as we finish this video, we are getting on a Zoom call with our friends of Southern Living Plant Collection, getting some more details. We will let you know. But go ahead and mark your calendar for Saturday, June the 20th. Starts at 10 a.m. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it. All right, so what do you want to talk about, Jerry?
What do I want to talk about?
Yeah, let's talk
Before
to
we
us.
get into the questions?
Yeah. What's life updates? Well, the thing is, as y'all know, you know, sometimes on camera, he can be a man of very few words. I'll ask a question and it's like, yes. But then, believe it or not, off the camera, y'all, Mr. Chatty Cathy over here. And as soon as the camera comes on, he gets quiet. So, talk to us. Talk to the people. The people love listening to you talk.
No, it's been a crazy season. Everything's been going well. We're a growing business. Mm-hmm. You know, systems have been good, systems have failed.
Yep.
You know, we're rectifying systems, we're growing more plants. That's a good thing. In the years past, we've had a difficult time coming out of spring and then getting into some fall plantings and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So we're in fact this morning we did that. So we got some plants planted. We're going to be ordering some more perennials, that kind of thing. The exciting new project with the building.
Yes, the building.
Yeah. So, and then we're still working on the barn. We knew that was going to come to a halt at some point, but we achieved the goal of getting it dry and with a roof, which was the main goal before spring started, and then we'll go back to, you know, the finishes, you know, inside the barn. But yeah, I mean, it's been a great year. Garden Center's still doing well. We've had those exciting events the other week here at the house with a tour of the gardens. It was nice to see all those folks come out,
Yeah, it was a great turnout. We were really encouraged. It was kind of funny in the fact of that event didn't start till 10 a.m. also, and we had all the food trucks here, and people were taking advantage of the donuts and the coffee and all the things. It was great. And then it came time for the tour, and we probably had 100 people.
Yeah, it's 100 people, and we did a few social media posts about it, and we had our handouts that we've been handing out since the beginning.
Yep.
So I think it was good, for 100. Otherwise, we probably need to break that thing up somehow because it gets hard for folks to hear.
Sure.
When you're got 100 people standing around you.
Yep. Yeah.
It's,
No, but it was
good.
it was a fun morning, and I think everybody enjoyed it really well. The gardens were looking great, and so they got to see the gardens up close and hands on and ask questions. So that was
great.
That was a lot of fun.
So those, I think, are working out really well for us once a month, right? Something like that?
Yes, it's the third Saturday of every month.
Yeah.
Which the Southern Living garden show, kind of traveling garden show, that is going to lands perfectly on that third Saturday of the month.
Yeah, in June.
In June.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of, let's answer some questions.
You want to answer some questions?
I want to answer questions.
All right, well, we're going to answer some questions. So we are going to jump right in here with questions. So the first question is from Miss Corgi, and Miss Corgi is very observant. She said, when did you add the garden spinner? I know we all want to hear about it. Gorgeous yard. So you may recall that I talked about that Mimi and I went up to Asheville, North Carolina, to do some shopping. Well, that was for the terracotta, and then of course we had to stop by the Grove Wood Gallery, which is right there at the Grove Park Inn, a beautiful art gallery, and that is where they have the Lyman Whitaker wind sculptures. And you know how bad of an influence Mimi is on me, and so we ended up deciding that I needed a wind spinner here at the house, and that
looks good.
It is gorgeous. And then Mama was like, Jenny, wherever you're going to put it, you need to put it where you can see it and enjoy it. So we added it to the cottage garden, and I can stand at my kitchen sink and look out the window, and it is directly in front of me. So days like today where there is a nice little lovely breeze going, that thing just spins, and it is such a fun addition to the garden. So that would be one thing as far as garden design, is it is a great element to add to the garden that's not even whatsoever in any shape, fashion, or form a plant.
Right.
You don't have to water it, you don't have to prune it, you don't have to weed it. It's fantastic.
Yep.
So that is Lyman Whitaker. He is an artist that's out west, but different art galleries carry his pieces. So the like I said, the Grovewood Gallery in Asheville, North Carolina, that's for me the only place that I know that has them. So yes, that is the story behind that. Then the next question is from oh gosh, y'all, these YouTube names, I tell you, we'll just say K Stew. There we go. So we got a little bit of a plant question here. She says, help, my Spirea has what looks to be powdery mildew, zone 8, Northwest Georgia. With this drought and zero humidity, ? Google says to destroy the plant, ? I told my hubby, let's ask Jenny, she'll know what to do. So one, I don't know that I've ever seen a Spirea with powdery mildew.
No. I doubt it is.
What do you think it might be?
I mean, I have no clue, really, to be honest with you, without seeing a picture of it. But, I mean, it could be some type of insect. You know? So I would just do a furlong drench on it, trim it back, cut all that out, let it reflush it back out. It will come right back, no problem. You know, and then see what happens.
Yeah. So that was, I actually answered this on YouTube. I would not destroy the plant.
No.
Like, that seems like very, very...
Like, that's some bad AI advice.
Yeah, that's very aggressive. So if it is powdery mildew, which I've never seen a Spirea get powdery mildew, still trim it back by a half to a third, like Jerry said. If it is an insect, it certainly won't hurt to do that fertilome tree and shrub drench on it. Give it a little slow release fertilizer like plant tone. And then because we are in the drought, that causes stress on the plant. So we just need to make sure that it gets a good deep watering. I would say at least like once a week. I know plants that do get powdery mildew. This was like years ago, and we had a phlox, and our friend Kata, who was like the perennial expert.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And she told me, she said it was a gorgeous phlox, and it was covered in powdery mildew. And she said, cut it absolutely down to the ground, and then when the plant reflushed, it had no powdery mildew. That's all I did, was just cut it all the way to the ground. And it's just when plants get under stress. So in a time of drought, even though we have no humidity, you wouldn't think we would have powdery mildew. It's just the plant's under stress. And so trim it, fertilize it, treat it. You should get good growth within the next, I would say, pretty soon. So that would be our advice for you. Then JNC says, will vanilla spice spread like Scentlandia does by rhizomes? So I have a love-hate relationship with Scentlandia. It is a beautiful plant, but dear heavens, if it's happy, it will like go crazy and send out runners all over the place.
Correct.
Personally, in my garden, vanilla spice has never done that.
I've never seen it do it.
I've never seen it. I'm not saying it won't. I've just that we haven't had no experience where on Scentlandia, most definitely,
Yes.
we'll do it. And then we have Elaine. Fun question. This is the constant topic in our house right now. So Elaine asks, did you ever finish planting the area around the mailbox? I know you guys have been super busy.
No. How about that for a great answer?
Short answer, no. Would you like to expound upon that, Mr. Simpson?
Yes, as we continue to look at that project, and I think we may have talked about this in one video, I'm not really sure. So we decided that we're going to move the mailbox, which then creates some more work. Not too bad on just on the mailbox, but then we said, you know what, I think we're going to move our entire fence line and gate to the end of what is considered the Pine Hollow Drive.
Right.
It ends, our property begins. So, and our private road right there
Well, before
begins.
where the current gate is.
Yeah, so we got to move it up the hill some and then get all of that. And that could change your design. It could change things that you were wanting to do. So we held off. We knew we couldn't get the gate and the fence moved during spring.
No.
With everything else that's going on. So that's on pause.
Yes.
Probably a fall project or late summer project. So, yeah, that's the details on that.
The details on that, and we're currently like choosing the plants that we're going to put in there. It will be a massive planting that will give us, 12 months interest with color and texture and flowers. And also the reason too is we were just getting ready to film, and we had another tractor trailer show up. It's a common occurrence, like it happens all the time here. But it's been interesting. So we're going to move the fence line and the gate forward to try to help those truck drivers who struggle, shall we say, because we've had in just this spring, we've gone for a long time, no issues whatsoever. And then this spring, we've had 2 of them hit the fence when they're coming in.
Yeah.
And a tractor trailer against a fence, I don't care how much concrete you use, the tractor trailer is going to win every time.
Right.
So.
And it does make a good distinction of like where our property and everything starts,
Yes.
And we can kind of shut it down. We've got to do some power, wiring for the gate and all that kind of stuff.
And then if we want to put it on irrigation.
Yeah, we've got that to consider, so because we probably should do that. So it's a little bit of turned into a bigger project than what we originally had planned on, which I'm kind of glad. There was just some things that happened that slowed us down with that. And so then that's where we're at.
Yes.
So yeah, some nice screening plants. Jackson got all that whole area cleared out. That goes underneath trees, so we can do some cool plantings underneath those trees. I mean, the whole thing is going to be it's a beautiful spot. So, you know.
And it does offer a lot of different kind of sun conditions as well.
It does.
Yeah. So we have a nice variety of plants. I would say this is has been my number one question across all social media this spring for sure.
I don't know what it is, but yeah.
You don't know what it is?
No.
Okay. This is actually because this is all, quote, your fault.
Okay.
You're the one that did this.
Okay.
So Barbara says,
Barbara.
Where is your hat from? And is it reasonably cool to wear for gardening? So you do know that I love a good hat in the garden. I don't care if it's hot or not, but I cannot stand to have my hair down on my neck when it's hot and then like in my face. It drives me insane. So that's why I rarely garden without a hat on, even if it's a bald cap. So this late winter, I was looking at getting another sun hat, and Jerry was like, you need to get a really cute, like, I don't know if you use the word elegant, but a cute straw hat. Like, he was telling me I needed to up my game, is basically what he was saying.
Which hat is it that she's...
Well, it
'Cause there's
doesn't matter.
several
It
different
does
ones.
not matter. They all love the hats. So I
Okay.
got 3 different straw hats. So
this would be really cool. I would love to be able to source those hats
sure.
to make it easier.
Well, people ask, but currently that we don't source them, and so anyway. So the one, I'm not sure which one she was referring to, but the one that's kind of like a bucket straw hat that has the black ribbon and the black edging.
Yeah.
Then that is my fancy hat. That's not really, I don't want to work in that one a lot. So that is from Solbari, Solbari. It's an Australian company. The Australians are great with sun protection, hence their location. They need to have good sun protection. And so that is from Solbari. And then my other 2 straw hats, more like the bigger, wider brim hats, those are from Coolibar. So Coolibar.
Yep.
So great sun protection, because I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 5, 15, 50, or 85. You need to protect your skin, especially as much as we are out in the sun 6 days a week, hours upon hours of time. So protect your skin. Wear your sunscreen. All right, and then Terry, so this is a good question, and I do not have an answer to this. So Terry says, Jenny, is there something similar to the angel wings that's a perennial? I know lamb's ear is similar in color and fuzziness, but it doesn't have those nice wide leaves like the angel wing has.
Or uprightness.
Right,
Yeah.
and I can't think
No.
of a perennial that does. Very unique habit on that plant. So if anybody knows of a good perennial substitute, then let us know in the comments. But it kind of comes down, Terry, to one of those things. It's like, yeah, it would be nice if it was a perennial, but it's also, if it is unique and really beautiful and pretty, then it's just one of those plants. I'm like, okay, well, if I want to have it in my garden, that I'm just going to commit to planting it every year.
I'm pretty sure, though, it's perennial in certain zones. I remember, because it does come from a perennial. You can get that thing from a perennial wholesale nursery, and that kind of. I know they don't do annuals, so I don't know that I would call that thing a technical like annual, like a petunia or something.
Well, let's just ask Professor Google right quick. So, angel wings is hardy in zones 8 to 11.
Yeah.
So if you're, I don't remember where you are, Terry, but if you are in 8 to 11, there you go.
Yeah, so it could work here and, further south.
Yep. Yep,
You know,
absolutely.
and dry. It does like it a little bit dry.
Right, so you need to treat it like a super bell, a calibracoa.
Yeah.
So in a container, if you have clay soil like we do, and it on the drier side, it doesn't like to have soaking wet feet. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So watch out for snakes. Here we go. I love your name. This says, your comment says, this channel is really helpful. I'm new to Northwest Georgia from Southern California. That is a Definite switch. And you have helped me accelerate my garden journey here. I'm going to go get a tea olive now. Can it perform with 5 hours direct morning sun?
Yes.
Yes, it absolutely
Really
can.
preferable.
Yes, because in fact, I have some tea olives in the back area right in front of the garden shed, and they are sun up to sundown, like full sun. It got massive growth on them, but they have never bloomed.
Yeah, we think it's the sun and the heat.
We think it's too much sun.
But who knows, really. But yes, that's the only thing that could be.
Yes, because we have the exact same variety all around us, and it's not in nearly as much sun in various locations, and they bloom their heads off. So that half-day sun is great, whether it's the morning sun, afternoon shade, or vice versa, because like I said, we have them both ways. Then they will do, they do like a little bit of a break. And then we have Miss Carol. The info you provide for me here in Alabama is helpful. Your hydrangeas are so pretty. My favorite. Do you happen to know why my endless summer hydrangeas are not blooming? 2 are and 2 are not. Thank you. So it's really hard to say, because obviously we're not looking at the plant and understanding what's happening to it. I will say that I'm not going to say what it is, but there is a nickname for the endless summer hydrangeas that's not very complimentary, because they are known to being very finicky of what blooms and what does not bloom. If they bloom, then they're very happy and they're gorgeous. I know Mimi has one actually in a container by her driveway, and when it blooms, it is unbelievable.
Yeah, the ones that I have seen when they bloom look gorgeous and they're great.
Right.
You know, we do not carry them. So
there does seem to be a bit of reliability issues with those hydrangeas, but this is what I would say. So it is going to be like a macrophylla hydrangea, so make sure that you're not pruning it. If you do prune it, you want to prune it after it blooms. Don't prune it in the late summer, fall, winter, early spring. You're going to want to, obviously, you know, kind of that filtered sun shade, I guess, depending on what zone you're in. Here in the South, they would need that dapple shade. Feed it once a year with like a slow rose tone, you know, fertilizer kind of situation. Make sure they get adequate water. Just kind of the general basics, but it's really hard to say why 2 are and why 2 aren't, other than we know that those sometimes have some issues with reliability. And then we've got Sicily 99. I have purple daydream on the front of our house. Can you tell me how to trim it? They are only 2 years old and very shaggy. Do I shape them into domes?
I would shape it up. It's going to naturally start to do its, you know, thing.
Kind of a weeping habit.
So just to kind of shape it up a little bit, clean it up. That'll help thicken it up inside. And then it'll go back to its nice look. It'll naturally look good. You don't have to worry about that if you're, you know.
Yeah, so with the loropetalums, especially, you know, the more petite ones, they respond really well to being pruned once a year to keep them nice and tight and thick. So kind of after they bloom, so mid-spring, now would be a great time to do it. Just go in there and you can trim it. You don't have to be specific. Trim it. You can give it a dose of slow release fertilizer. If you're currently in a drought like the rest of us, you know, make sure they get good water, and then boom, you should see good new growth pretty quickly. Myra says, hi Jenny, love watching your videos and I hope to get back to the nursery. Can you tell me what to do to get my El Nino to bloom? This is the 2nd year. It is growing and it is healthy, just won't bloom. I want to experience that smell everyone talks about. Help. So with El Nino, I do think it is obviously an absolutely gorgeous shrub tree form.
It does take a minute for it to do its flowers.
It does. I would
give
say
it a couple years.
I would say just be patient.
Sorry.
I mean, gardening teaches you patience, but I know that mine currently, as we speak right now, does have blooms on it. It does bloom on new growth, so if you have not pruned it, then I would encourage you to give it a little bit of a haircut. Even at this point in the season, you absolutely can still do that. Now, depending on what size it is and how big it is, but even if you just cut 6 inches off of it, you're going to encourage new growth, which then is going to encourage those flowers. So that would be one thing, is to, you know, if you're not pruning it at the end of the winter,
that could be the problem.
definitely you want to go ahead and prune it. But it does take a little bit of time. And I will say too that I don't know if it's our climate or where we are, but I personally have never like been blown away with the fragrance of El Nino. Like it's not like a gardenia for me, right? And so maybe that's dependent on the climate, the location, I don't know, but mine is budding out.
Fragrance is tricky sometimes with the plants. You could have the same plant in a different spot and it just doesn't put on that fragrance like it would. Kind of like our diamond spires that are by the entrance of our back porch are just awesome.
You can smell them around the house. They are.
It's like you go out there and it's like, man, what is that? You know, and you forget it's the gardenia.
It's the gardenias. Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. And then Shirley asked about up at the woodland garden at the chicken coop with the blue ceramic pots. Will those blue ceramic pots stay out all winter? Yes, they will. So they will stay out year round. They are, they've been outside for years in various locations. So everybody is good to go. Does spraying a systemic on hibiscus keep Japanese beetles away? I hope it works on the chatalpa. Those caterpillars were the grossest. Yes, they were. They were absolutely nasty. So I personally, when we use a systemic, I only use it on those plants that are inundated and attacked by the Japanese beetles. And ours is not a spray, it's actually a drench. So you mix up the solution in a gallon of water and you pour it around the base of the plant. So I'm not actually spraying anything on there, but that is my one and only defense for Japanese beetles, because there's not an organic solution to do that. There's not a natural predator. I got way too many plants to go out every morning and flick off Japanese beetles into a
We had a pretty good year last year. Hopefully it'll work. We treat our turf areas with everything that you can do, and that has helped.
Yes.
Now, we're surrounded by woods, so they're there, you know, so it's, you know, you can't get everything, but it did reduce the population.
Yes, we didn't have nearly as many last year. No. And of course, like the number one thing is like the roses. They love the roses.
I love roses.
Ooh. They are awful. Yes. So that was all the questions that I had. I had chosen. Yes. Yeah. So if y'all have questions, feel free, you know, to stick them in the comment section. Next time we do a porch chat, we will talk about and answer your questions. But definitely mark your calendar for June the 20th. It is going to be, I cannot wait. It is going to be so fun.
Yeah, if you're traveling, and like we said, once a month, we got these events going on. There's some really good ones, you know, throughout the summer and then going into the fall. You know, so you know, it's a good way to put something on your calendar if you're traveling. You want to come in.
Third Saturday of
the month. They're free. We have a great time. We usually have a food truck here or something like that, and then it just makes the atmosphere really cool. Everybody has a good time hanging out and talking to each other and enjoying the food and getting some plants and, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and that was what was so cool about the house tour we did. It was that, you know, you got 100 gardeners sitting here talking with each other, and they were asking us questions, but they would ask a question and then each other would answer. Yeah. Like, you know, iron sharpens iron. And so they were, it wasn't that we were the only ones giving the answers, because other people were like, oh, I've done that, or do this, or somebody was asking about like pink lemonade blueberry bush, and another gardener was like, oh yeah, just wait, they'll come on, blah, 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 blah. So it's always fun. Yep.
Excellent.
Anything else you want to say? Any closing words?
No, just look forward to seeing all the projects here come up in the videos maybe, and
I know.
You know, everything we're doing. You know.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
All right. As always, my friends, we hope you have found it fun, informative, and inspirational, answering your questions. Y'all have an amazing day. Stay cool, stay hydrated. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.
Bye.